loss. And a spokesperson for the festival, which is the world's largest performing arts festival, said they are working to find solutions to keep the event affordable. Well, let's go now to Tom Mayhew. He's a comedian who won the Edinburgh Fringe Festival's Comedy Award Panel Prize in 2022. This is his first year performing at the Fringe since 2016, as it's no longer financially viable. Before we chat, let's just hear a quick clip in action.
But yeah, I was unemployed for quite a long time, about 3 years on and off. And so I had to go to this place called the Job Centre Plus. Now, I don't really know what the plus stands for. Presumably, judgment and sadness.
You've had to make now, you're not going, is that right?
Yeah, this is the first time in a few years where I'm not going because it's just so expensive and I just can't really afford it, to be honest.
So, Tom, talk us through where does this expense come from? Run us through it.
Well, a lot of it comes from the accommodation, like literally the accommodation. Last year, I was in a little student accommodation flat, literally a one-bed small student place. And for the month, it cost me 1,400 quid, which, like, if you told anyone else you were doing that, they'd think you were insane. But for some reason, comedians are expected to spend these ridiculous amounts on accommodation when most of us aren't that minted. So yeah, it's ridiculous.
So you've got that upfront cost, and then of course you've got your living expenses for the whole time you're up there. What's the mechanism for what's the ticket sales? How can anyone potentially make money? Is there a select group that are making money and everyone else not? How does it work?
Well, most people who make money, they kind of make money off the back of, like, if they do a tour after the Fringe or whether they do like a West End run off the back of Edinburgh. Like most people, they're kind of upfront putting forward like between something like 4 and 10 grand to do a show. And you don't make that back in Edinburgh. Like you might make that back if you're lucky and you do like a Soho theatre run or a big UK tour. But for a lot of us, if you can't afford that money up front, you have to go, well, I'm not allowed to play the game then, I guess.
Right. And what do you make? We heard the response there from the organisers that they're trying things. They're going to try things to keep it or make it affordable. What are the options?
I don't really know. I think the only options nowadays are, either you can afford to go if you're someone who's lucky enough to have that money backed up, or you just have to try and find a way to put on a show outside of Edinburgh, which is a real shame because it's such a great festival that all comedians, we really love it. It's like the best place to go to perform comedy. And it's just so sad that both audiences and performers are basically, being priced out of it unless you've got a well-paying job, which is really sad.
And so what does this mean? Is this kind of it now for you forever and other people in your position? Because if there are enough of you making this decision, then, well, the festival suffers and it needs to then bring you guys back.
I mean, I think the problem is there's always going to be a lot of people in the comedy industry who do, frankly, have rich mums and dads who can help them afford the costs. And as long as those people keep going, then it doesn't matter how many people like me say I can't afford it, because there'll always be people who can afford it one way or the other, whether they've got rich parents, whether they have connections. And while those people are going, I don't think the festival's going to really care, to be honest.
Interesting stuff, depressing stuff. Tom, thank you very much for coming on the programme, and I hope we can
Sorry, mate, I can only apologise.
Yeah, I hope we can talk about cheerier, funnier stuff next time we have you on. But for the moment, thank you very much.